Hey everyone. Well, this is going to be part 2 to that video, Woodstove in Ice Shack or something like that, I think I called it. I haven't put a wood stove in it yet, other than the one I had in there. I had that Hippie Killer in there, and those things are brutal. However, I modified that stove, and now I'm using it somewhere else now. But I actually have it so it actually works really good. I just did a couple little modifications to it, and it went from being a complete smoke dragon, backfiring, like blowing the hood off or the lid off, to actually it's just a predictable stove now. So it would be good for one of these now. That stove was a bit bigger than I wanted though. I wanted something smaller and made out of a thicker metal. Just because when it's thin like that, it's nice. It heats up fast, but just as soon as the fire's out, that's it. You lose all that heat. So I'm making one out of a couple air compressors, I think. Little tiny air compressors. Kind of got an idea how I'm going to build it. But anyway, check out this tent there for anybody who hasn't seen what camping's like in an ice shack. We're at a pretty awesome spot here, by the way. So yeah, here it is. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, you got these little windows that just Velcro in and out. And I had my stove jack in one of these that goes into any one of these windows, any one you want. I usually put the stove's gonna go at the end, like, and this is where the stove will go, is right here, away from the cot. And you can fit 2 cots beside each other in here. This is a 6 or an 8 man ice shack. So yeah, it works really good. It's black, so of course it heats up a bit during the day. But for us here, I'm in Canada, where it's pretty darn cold. Like the other night, it was 6 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's pretty cold. So, but yeah, if you want a good tent for on the move, you know, like when you're and you want some space and room and stuff like that, you just want something that goes up super fast. Like, you can't beat these things. I didn't know how it'd be in the rain, if it'd be good or not. And last night it rained, and it didn't. Not a drop came through. It's got these little vents up in here, just to vent the place a bit. So yeah, really, with a little stove, it's a pretty ideal setup. And then I just have my cot, so I just lay my cot out, and then I put this tent together. It takes me about a minute. It just pops out super fast, and then just pop, 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 and it's up. And then I just pick it up and I put it over top of the my cot. And yeah, you're pretty much done. You just lay out your bed. In this case, I got a foam, and then my sleeping bag, and it's a game changer as far as comfort goes. You're off the ground. With a stove, I mean, you could do this in the winter if you wanted. I don't know, it's not insulated, but you know, I don't know what the limits would be. We haven't tried it yet, but I mean, for this, you know, I'm on this is my 3rd day now out on my side-by-side, and I just sleep on the trail wherever I feel like it, right? In this case, this beautiful ridge. Had breakfast down there this morning. Like, looks a lot better in person than it does through the camera, I'm sure. But yeah, this thing is nice. I mean, it's still work, but how else are you gonna sleep? The first night I slept just under the stars. I just put out my cot, and it wasn't bad. I was in the trees, you know, kind of like a spot, like over in here. I'll show you. And it was awesome because, you know, you see the stars. It was a beautiful night, and you know, I can just see the silhouette of the coniferous trees, and yeah, it was kind of a spot like this, but with greener trees like that. And I just trimmed the branches up. It was a spot that nobody ever really camped before, and I just basically slept under the tree, you know. And it was right beside a creek too, which was nice. So yeah, it's just a fun way to to camp, because I mean, people have been riding horses forever and camping, and you know, they go on pack trips, sometimes a month long or whatever. And this is the same idea, but with a side by side. Now, of course, you'd have to pack a lot of fuel and everything. In this case, I put on about 30 kilometers, which doesn't seem like anything, but if you've seen the country that I was in, I've got other videos of my entire trip here. Along, not along distance-wise, just really rugged, really grown-in trail, and that's what I'm going to be doing, is clearing this trail out. But yeah, if you want to do, you know, if you're into ATVing and riding side-by-sides, quads, whatever you want to call them, this is a super fun way to camp. Some people take their toy haulers and stuff and they go out and they camp in big groups, and that's fun too. But this is just cool because you can just go and stay at places where you could never get to with your campers, you know. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're going to be able to find those places more so probably than with your pulling your camper behind you, your big 30 or 40 foot camper, right? So yeah, check it out. If you want to buy one of these things, like, I doubt if you'd be disappointed, just for ease, like the speed that they go up and then the room that you have. Like, I have a tent, or actually no, I sold it, but I had a pop-up tent, and I had that cot that would go in there. It was a four person tent or whatever, 4-man tent, and it was okay. Like, I used it a fair amount. It was one of those they roll up in a circle. Thing was super hard to get back into its bag there. It took a lot of practice and sometimes I couldn't get it. But either way, just there's no room once you were in there. You had your cot. I could put that cot in there, so I was off the ground. But it was just, everything was tight and whatnot. This is basically like a little portable cabin. That's what this thing is. And if you go into the description of this video, I'll put a link for this tent. But I mean, there's other brands you can buy too. Yeah, if you get this tent, the only problem, I don't know if they fixed them, the only problem I had, I'll show you, is up in, where is it? Was it those, I think it was, I don't know if you can see this in here. Where is it? Is it here? Yeah, I'll go outside. So right where these things pop out, I had to get this all redone. I took it to a local shop there, and she did an awesome job, and she stiffened it up. I asked her if she could just beef it right up, because that was the only flaw with these. I called these guys here, and they weren't willing to warranty the tent or anything, but they were willing to send me these little eyes. But I just thought, why bother? I think it cost me something like $60 Canadian to get this whole thing fixed up, so I was super happy about that. And that one's a little messed up. There's a pin that's missing, but they're gonna send me that pin. They already said they would, so they're a good company. Like, they stand by their product, and it's just a really convenient way to camp.